We're making the scalloped crib blanket today. Watch out for an overload of charm. Before we begin, you'll need the Scalloped Crib Quilt PDF sewing pattern. It's an instant download. Links are below. Use the pattern to cut your fabric and then let's go! Fold the decorative trim pieces in half and iron them flat. Open a decorative trim piece on top of the quilt top, line up the notches and pin it down. Then sew down the crease. Take out the pins, fold it over, and you're ready to add another decorative trim piece. Repeat till all four sides have decorative trim. Match two mitered trim pieces together, and then find the start sewing point. Draw a line down from the center of the notch, then across from the angle. Where they meet is the start sewing point. Forward stitch, back stitch, and sew. Sew the other mitered trim edges together until they form a square. Iron the seams flat. Next, grab the scallop tracing template for the trim. Line up the 45-degree angle and the center notch, and use an erasable fabric pin to mark the scallops. Flip it over and mark the scallops again. Pin right sides together of the mitered trim to the quilt top. Then sew them together using a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Sew each of the four sides of the quilt individually, forward stitch and back stitch to begin and end each side. Make a quilt sandwich by laying down the batting, the back fabric right side up, and the quilt top right side down. Pin them together and sew the scallops. Cut very near your scalloped sew line and even nearer in between the scallops. Turn your quilt right side out. Then form the scallops. Iron it flat. Remember our 8-inch opening? You can either hand stitch it closed and then sew all the way around the quilt in the ditch, or sew 1/4 of an inch all the way around your quilt. That will seal the opening. Next, quilt around the entire outside edge. I like to use a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Next, you'll take the scallop tracing template for quilting and line it up with the blanket corner and about the center. Use an erasable fabric pen to trace. Trace all four sides. For the final step, simply sew the line you just drew. Congratulations, you just sewed a scalloped crib quilt that your baby will adore for years. Look for more from the Pattern for Home Scalloped line. What will you make today?